Today we talked about variables. Today we will be talking about reading user values using printf. The previous program is good. Good in the sense of what? It'd be better if it read in the values 5 and 7 from the user instead of using constants. Okay, but you know what? I lost, apparently, the program because this is the Hello World program here. Let's just copy and paste this. Oh, that's weird, eh? Here we go, 5 plus 7 is 12. And it saved it without refreshing the page. Okay, good. The previous program is good. It's good at calculating what 5 plus 7 is. But it'd be better if we read in the values 5 and 7 from the user instead of using constants. Constants are values that don't change. They are values that are provided to you and basically cannot be altered or manipulated. All right, let's look at the difference here. Enter A, B, C, printf, enter the first value. Okay, so what we're doing is, after line 5, we're entering a line that prints out a command for the user to enter the first value, right? And that with a semicolon. And then we need to scanf that value. Give it the integer formatting thingy. What is that thing called? Forgotten. Let's see what it was today. Oh, they call them placeholders. Placeholder. All right, so the integer placeholder, we need to use the ampersand for reasons that are not entirely clear to me yet. And then we want a second value, so repeat everything. Enter the second value. Scanf. And then we'll use the variable b. And b is what will go in that spot. All right. We're going to get rid of constants that are already in place here. A and b. And so now we have c equals a plus b. And printf, same as before. Placeholder 1, placeholder 2, placeholder 3, new line with the ABC values. Turn 0. All right, and then there's a little GIF animation of how this program works. So we're going to run it. Enter the first value. Okay, well, let's just do 5. And the second value, 7. And we get the same result. But now we could rerun it and choose different values. 3 integers, so I can't use a decimal value. I'll just try 8. There you go. You get a different. Line 5 plus 7 equals 12 is formed and displayed to the user. Yep. Make the changes, compile and run the program to make sure it works. Note the scanf uses the same sort of format string as printf. Type manscanf for more info. I can't manscanf. I am manscaper, but not manscanfer. Note the ampersand in front of A and B. This is the address operator in C. The address operator. Okay. That's what we need to remember here. Address operator. This is integer placeholder, value formatting placeholder, and this is the address operator. It returns the address of the variable, but this won't make sense until we discuss pointers. I'm hoping they're going to talk about pointers later. You must use the ampersand operator in scanf on any variable of type char, int, or float, as well as structure types, which we'll get to shortly. Structure types. If you leave out the ampersand operator, you'll get an error when you run the program. Oh, really? I'll be the judge of that. Yes. Not an error, but a warning, actually. Format specifies type int, but the argument has type int. Only a computer would care about int star and int, and the difference between them. Let's look at some variations to understand printf completely. Here's the simplest printf statement. Printf hello. Not the simplest. Not the simplest, because you could make it simpler by simply having a one character statement there. This call to printf has a string format that tells printf to send the word hello to standard out screen. Contrast it with this. Printf hello / new line. The difference between the two is that the second version sends the word hello followed by a carriage return to standard out. The following line shows how to output the value of a variable using printf. Printf, integer placeholder, comma, variable name. Right here, b is a variable name. The %d is a placeholder that will be replaced by the value of the variable b when the printf statement is executed. Often, you'll want to embed the value within some other words. One way to accomplish that is like this. Printf, the temperature is, space, printf degrees. So this first line writes out a sort of text preamble to what's going to follow. The second line prints the placeholder value that is held by the variable b, and then afterwards it's sort of a postamble saying that that is a value in degrees. All right, cool. An easier way to say this is just by putting it all together. Printf, the temperature is %d degrees. Of course, this will all depend on what your variable value was. You can use multiple placeholders in one printf statement, as we did here. 1, 2, 3. All right, easy. This is easy. I used to think computer programming is hard. It's easy. You just got to go slowly enough. In the printf statement, it is extremely important that the number of operators in the format string corresponds exactly with the number and type of the variables following it, because computers are dumb. And if you try to do something that it doesn't understand or that it doesn't expect, it will just say, error, you figured out, human. If the format string contains 3 %d operators, then it must be followed by exactly 3 parameters, and they must have the same types in the same order as those specified by the operators. I mean, there's so many restrictions there. You almost wonder what's the point of getting the computer to do it for you. You can print all of the normal C types with printf by using different placeholders. Int, the integer values, use %d. Doesn't make any sense because integer starts with I. Float, the floating point values, use %f. Now that does kind of make sense because f and float start with the same letter. Char or car, single character values, use C, which makes sense. %C. And then character strings, which start with S, use %S. Makes sense. You can learn more about the nuances of printf on a Unix machine by typing man3 printf. Unfortunately, not on a Unix machine. And those built-in documentation chapters are always like written for advanced users, way over our heads. I'm sure they won't tell us anything that we need to know at this stage. Any other C compiler you're using will probably come with a manual or help file that contains a description of printf. Well, that's what I was wondering. Does Replit have a help file? Settings, files. I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to check out later. check it out later. See errors to avoid using the wrong character case. If you case matters. So if you cannot type capital P printf or all caps printf, it must be small letters printf. And you can't forget to use the ampersand in scanf. You can have too many or too few parameters. The parameters have to match, and you can't forget to declare a variable name before using it. All right. Well, that's pretty good. I guess that's a pretty good lesson on scanf and printf, as well as learning more about the placeholder values. Teaching us about some common mistakes that we'd be likely to make as new users.